How my sister-in-law ruined my marriage ceremony, and I took a petty revenge. I became petty on my wedding day at exactly 2:47 p.m., watching my sister-in-law-to-be pose for photos in a dress that cost more than my entire bridal outfit. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me tell you how Victoria went from my best friend to my worst enemy, and how I got the last laugh without anyone ever knowing I'd planned it. 6 months before the wedding. You have to meet Marcus's sister, my fiancé said, practically bouncing with excitement. Victoria's going to love you. She's been dying to have a sister. I was nervous. I'd heard so much about Victoria, how she was the golden child, the successful corporate lawyer, the one who could do no wrong in the Chin family's eyes. Marcus worshipped her. His parents quoted her like scripture. She arrived at our engagement party in a cloud of expensive perfume and designer labels, pulling me into a hug that felt genuine and warm. "Oh my God, you're even prettier than your photos," she gushed, holding me at arm's length. "Marcus showed me your Instagram. We're going to be such good friends. I've always wanted a sister." And for a while, I believed her. She texted me daily. Sent me funny memes. Asked about wedding planning. Invited me to lunch where she'd give advice about dealing with Marcus's family, about the best vendors, about surviving as a new bride in a traditional household. "You're so lucky," my best friend Julia said. "Most girls have nightmare sister-in-laws. You got the jackpot." I thought so too. The mask started slipping 2 weeks after the engagement party. 4 months before. "So I was thinking," Victoria said over coffee, stirring her latte with studied casualness. "Have you thought about losing some weight before the wedding? Not that you're not beautiful. But wedding photos are forever, you know. And the camera adds 10 pounds. I nearly choked on my cappuccino. "Excuse me?" "Oh, don't be offended." She reached across to pat my hand. "I'm just trying to help. My friend is a nutritionist. She could probably get you down to a size 4 by the wedding. You'd look so stunning." I was a size 8. Perfectly healthy. And suddenly very aware of every inch of my body under her appraising gaze. "I'm happy with how I look," I said carefully. Of course. Of course. I'm just saying, if you wanted to make some improvements, now's the time." She smiled, but her eyes were calculating. Marcus's exes were all quite slim. Not that he's comparing. I just thought you'd want to look your best. I went home and cried for an hour. Then I called Marcus. "Did you tell Victoria I should lose weight?" "What? No. Why would I?" He sounded genuinely confused. "You're perfect. I've never said anything like that. She said your exes were all skinnier than me." There was a long pause. "She said that? That doesn't sound like Victoria. Maybe you misunderstood." And there it was. The first time Marcus chose to believe I'd misheard rather than believe his perfect sister had been cruel. It wouldn't be the last. 3 months before. The announcement party for our wedding was held at my parents' house. We'd invited close friends and family, maybe 40 people total. It was supposed to be intimate, joyful, a celebration of 2 families coming together. Victoria arrived late, wearing white. Not just white, a fitted white dress that looked bridal. With her hair styled in loose curls and makeup that belonged in a magazine spread. She looked like she was attending her own engagement party. My mother's face went tight. In our culture, wearing white to someone else's wedding events is, let's just say it sends a message. But Victoria sailed through the party, hugging people, laughing loudly, positioning herself next to Marcus for every photo. When it came time for speeches, she didn't congratulate us. She told embarrassing stories about Marcus's ex-girlfriends. "Remember Sophia? Oh my God, she was gorgeous. They almost got engaged, you know. But it didn't work out." She smiled at me. "Everything happens for a reason, right?" My friends noticed. Julia squeezed my hand under the table. My cousin Olivia's eyes went wide. "But Marcus?" He laughed along. "Victoria's just being Victoria. She's always like this at parties." After everyone left, my mother found me crying in my childhood bedroom. "That girl is poison," she said flatly. "Beta, are you sure about this marriage? I love Marcus." "I know. But you're not just marrying him. You're marrying his family. And that sister. I can handle her." My mother looked doubtful, but she kissed my forehead. "If you need to back out, we'll support you. Your happiness matters more than what people think." I should have listened to her. 2 months before. The subtle digs became constant. Always delivered with a smile, always in front of other people. "Oh, you're wearing that to dinner? How comfortable. I love how confident you are. I could never leave the house without makeup. Marcus says you don't cook much. Good thing his mother's teaching you." And the worst part? She'd started working on Marcus. "Did you know Sarah forgot to send the invitations to our side of the family?" I hadn't forgotten. She'd given me the wrong email addresses. I heard her friend Julia talking about how expensive everything is. "Do you think she's marrying you for money?" Julia had said the caterer was overpriced, which it was. Mom's worried Sarah doesn't understand our family traditions. Maybe she needs more time to adjust? Translation: maybe we should postpone the wedding. Each time, Marcus would come to me confused, slightly defensive, asking me to explain. Each time, I defend myself. And each time, I could see him wondering if maybe Victoria had a point. "She's my sister," he'd say. "She just wants what's best for us. She's protective. She's trying to break us up. That's paranoid, Sarah. Victoria loves you." I was starting to doubt my own perception of reality. Maybe I was being paranoid. Maybe I was misreading innocent comments. Maybe. Then I found the texts. 6 weeks before. Marcus left his phone on the counter while he showered. It buzzed with a message from Victoria. I wasn't trying to snoop, but the preview was right there. "Just saying, it's not too late to reconsider. You deserve someone who fits into our family." My hands shook as I opened the message thread. Months of messages. Victoria systematically undermining me, planting seeds of doubt, pointing out every perceived flaw. She doesn't dress appropriately for family events. Her family is so loud and common. Are you sure she's not after your money? She asked about your salary. I'd asked what we should budget for rent. Mom thinks she's disrespectful. Just FYI. And worst of all, most recently. I love you, bye. I just want you to be happy. And I'm not sure she's the one. She seems difficult. Needy. Not like Sophia. Marcus's responses were initially defensive of me. But as the months went on, I could see Victoria's poison working. His replies became shorter. More uncertain. "I'll talk to her about that." "Yeah, I noticed that too. Maybe you're right. I'll think about it." I felt sick. This wasn't just a difficult sister-in-law. This was a calculated campaign to destroy my relationship. When Marcus got out of the shower, I confronted him. "How long has Victoria been trying to convince you not to marry me?" His face went pale. "You read my messages." "Yes. And I'm glad I did." "How long, Marcus?" She's protective. She doesn't mean." She called me common. She said I'm after your money. She's been systematically trying to sabotage us for months, and you've been letting her. That's not fair. I've defended you. In the beginning. But look at your recent messages. You're starting to agree with her. He couldn't meet my eyes. "Maybe we should postpone the wedding. Just until we work some things out." And there it was. Victoria was winning. "No," I said flatly. "We're not postponing. Either you trust me and we get married in 6 weeks, or we call it off entirely. I won't spend my life competing with your sister for your loyalty." That's an ultimatum. Yes, it is. We stared at each other for a long moment. Then Marcus reached for my hand. "You're right. I'm sorry. I've been letting Victoria get in my head. I love you. We're getting married in 6 weeks, and nothing's going to stop that." I wanted to believe him. I really did. But I'd seen the messages. I knew how deep Victoria's hooks went. So I started planning. Not just the wedding. My revenge. The wedding day. Victoria arrived at the venue at 8 a.m. wearing a dress that made me gasp. It was traditional red, almost identical to my bridal dress. Heavily embroidered, with gold work that probably cost thousands. She looked like a second bride. My mother saw it and her face went stone cold. That woman is shameless. But Victoria sailed past everyone, all smiles. "Sarah. You look so beautiful. I wanted to dress up too, you know, for the photos. We'll look like sisters." We would not look like sisters. We'd look like co-brides. And everyone would spend the day wondering who the actual bride was. This was her final play. Upstage me on my own wedding day. Make herself the center of attention. Prove she was the real star of the Chin family. Your dress is gorgeous, I said sweetly. So much detail. You must have spent hours getting ready. Oh, you know me. I love making an entrance. She adjusted her jewelry, also red and gold, also bridal. Where's Marcus? I need to give him his gift before the ceremony. He's getting ready with the groomsmen. Actually, could you help me with something? My makeup artist needs to touch up the bridesmaids, but she's running behind. Could you send them to the bridal suite? You'd be doing me such a favor. Victoria's eyes gleamed. Of course. Anything for you, sister. She swept off to round up my bridesmaids, and I turned to Julia. Is everything ready? Julia grinned. Oh, it's ready. This is going to be beautiful. The setup. Here's what Victoria didn't know. I'd spent 6 weeks planning the perfect revenge. Nothing illegal. Nothing obvious. Just karma, delivered with precision. First, the dress. I'd noticed Victoria always tried to outshine me at every event. So I'd deliberately shown her a photo of a potential bridal dress, traditional red with heavy embroidery. I knew she'd try to match or exceed it. What I actually wore? A stunning ivory and gold lehenga. Modern, elegant, completely different from what she'd expected. Next to my sophisticated outfit, her red bridal dress looked desperate and try-hard. Second, the seating. Victoria had assumed she'd be seated at the head table with immediate family. I'd arranged for her to sit with Marcus's distant cousins, the loud, gossipy ones who she'd always looked down on. They spent the entire reception talking about their middle-class lives while Victoria sat there, visibly uncomfortable, unable to escape. Third, and this was my favorite, the photos. I'd hired 2 photographers. The official one, and a second one I'd paid extra. The official photographer had instructions to take group shots that included Victoria. The second photographer? His only job was to capture Victoria's face throughout the day. Every moment she realized her dress was wrong. Every grimace when she saw where she was seated. Every time she tried to insert herself into a family photo and was gently moved aside. Every instant of realization that she'd been outmaneuvered. I was going to make an album. Not to share, just for me. A private collection of the day Victoria Chin realized she wasn't the center of the universe. But the real revenge? That came during the speeches. The speech. Victoria stood up for her speech during the reception, confident and poised. She'd probably prepared something backhanded, something that sounded sweet but left cuts. She started talking about Marcus's childhood, about how she'd always taken care of him, about how she only wanted the best for her baby brother. Then her phone rang. She ignored it the first time. It rang again. And again. Finally, flustered, she pulled it out. Her face went white. Excuse me. I need to take this. She rushed outside. The reception continued without her. What Victoria didn't know, my cousin Olivia worked in HR at Victoria's law firm. And Olivia had just sent her a series of texts pretending to be from a senior partner, asking about a missing brief for a major case on Monday. There was no missing brief. But Victoria, who'd been neglecting work to focus on sabotaging my wedding, would spend the next hour frantically searching her files, making calls, panicking. By the time she realized it was nothing, the speeches would be over. The first dance would be done. The important moments, captured without her. The confrontation. Victoria cornered me while I was taking a breath between photos. Did you do this? She hissed. The seating, the timing, all of it. Do what? I smiled innocently. I'm just trying to enjoy my wedding day. Is something wrong? You know exactly what's wrong. You've been freezing me out all day. Have I? That's strange. I thought I was just being a bride. You know, focusing on my husband on our wedding day. I paused. The husband you've spent 6 months trying to convince not to marry me. Her face went through several expressions, shock, anger, calculation. I don't know what you think you know. I know everything, Victoria. Every text. Every manipulation. Every lie you told Marcus about me. I stepped closer, keeping my voice low. And here's what's going to happen. You're going to back off. You're going to stop playing games. Because if you don't, I will make sure Marcus sees exactly who you really are. He'll never believe you over me. Maybe not. But do you really want to risk it? I smiled. Besides, I don't need him to believe me. I just need to make your life difficult every time you make mine difficult. And I'm very good at looking innocent while I do it. You're crazy. No. I'm just done being your victim. This is my family now. My marriage. And you don't get to destroy it because you can't handle not being the center of attention. For the first time since I'd met her, Victoria had nothing to say. The aftermath. The wedding was perfect. The photos were stunning. And in every single one, I looked like a confident, radiant bride while Victoria looked like an overdressed guest trying too hard. More importantly, Marcus noticed. Why was Victoria dressed like that? He asked during our honeymoon. Everyone was commenting on it. I don't know. Maybe she wanted to feel special? It was inappropriate. She made it weird. He paused. And I noticed she tried to interrupt our first dance. And she barely congratulated us. And what? And I think you were right. About her trying to sabotage us. I'm sorry I didn't see it sooner. I could have said, I told you so. Could have listed every time she'd been cruel, every manipulation, every lie. But I didn't need to. The wedding had shown Marcus everything he needed to see. Victoria's mask had slipped in front of everyone, and no amount of gaslighting could undo that. She's your sister, I said instead. We'll figure it out. No. She's my sister, but you're my wife. And she needs to respect that or she doesn't get to be part of our lives. It was the first time Marcus had chosen me over Victoria without hesitation. Victory had never tasted sweeter. 6 months later. Victoria still doesn't know the full extent of what I did. She thinks the wedding was a series of unfortunate coincidences. The wrong dress. The bad seating. The badly timed phone call. She's more careful now. Nicer, in a forced way. She knows Marcus is watching her more closely. She knows she's on thin ice. And I'm the perfect daughter-in-law. Sweet, accommodating, always willing to give Victoria another chance. But I keep that album of photos. The ones showing her face when she realized she'd been outplayed. Sometimes, when she makes a snide comment that she thinks is too subtle for anyone to catch, I look at them. And I smile. Because the best revenge isn't dramatic. It's not explosive or obvious. It's showing someone who tried to diminish you that they failed. That you won. That they never had the power over you they thought they did. Victoria wanted to ruin my wedding. Instead, she ruined her own reputation. She wanted to keep Marcus from marrying me. Instead, she pushed him closer to me than ever. She wanted to prove I wasn't good enough for her family. Instead, I proved she wasn't as untouchable as she thought. Last week, Victoria got engaged. Her fiancé seems nice. She asked if I'd help plan the wedding. I said yes, with a smile that didn't quite reach my eyes. After all, that's what sisters do for each other. Right?